Hello and welcome to Business News for the Average Person. My name is Nicholas. It is Monday, December 13th. Let's talk about the news and how it will affect you, the average person. So, now this one is just talking about how the dollar became a little bit stronger. Um, yeah, so hopefully this helps with the you know continuing talk about inflation because obviously when the US dollar becomes stronger, imports become relatively cheaper, helps a little bit with imports. And this is because various central banks, which are different countries' institutions to regulate interest rates, met earlier last week. Okay, so the U.S. Federal Reserve, which is the central bank of the United States, is going to meet later this week. It sounds like so. Hopefully, you know, we have good news coming out of that, whatever it means for for you. All right. Very quickly here, the CVS could become your doctor. This is talking about how CVS wants to get into the primary healthcare business. So this is good for doctors who don't want to run their own practice, deal with the hassle of running your own business, right? And don't mind working for a corporate a giant like CVS so that they can concentrate on just seeing patients and less on administration. Okay, and hopefully the competition brings down the cost of primary healthcare in the United States. Very quickly here, Wall Street firm Jeffries returns to remote work and social events after dozens of COVID cases. So yeah, and then related to this, I wanted to show you this as well. Google delays mandatory return to office beyond January 10. So the Omicron variant has cause concerns. So if you work for a giant corporation, I think this may be the start of another delay by corporate America to delay returning to the office for those that have been working from home. All right. So now, these next few news articles I'm going to share talks about Amazon and other tech giants. So Italy fines Amazon $1.3 billion for abusing its market position. Right? It goes into great detail about how uh, that happened. I'm not going to talk about it, talk about the details. But following on that, you remember, with Amazon Web Services being down, the internet basically broke the other day, and then you also have EU proposals to give millions of gig workers employment rights. So you might be thinking, hey, what's happening in Italy with Amazon and what's going on in the EU doesn't affect the average person in the United States. Not true, because well, the even if the regulations are going to remain the same in the US. What happens in Europe is tied very closely to the US because these large companies will want to get ahead of the regulatory curve and so move toward greater protection for workers, for consumers. So this is not a bad thing if you're the average person that doesn't work for Amazon, right? So but if you're an Amazon shareholder, tech you hold or you own stocks in one of the big technology companies, something to watch, right? Yeah. So, okay, JP Morgan says next year, 2022, will mark the end of the pandemic. I'm not sure why they say that with that level of certainty. Um, but that's what JP Morgan says. Okay, Hertz celebrating an epic comeback. You remember that Hertz during the pandemic they declared bankruptcy. So now with car rental prices going up, yeah, it's good for them. So maybe buy their stock. I don't know. But this also just tells you that the travel industry is coming back and supply is still in short demand. I'm sorry, supply is still short and demand is very strong. All right. Apple nears $3 trillion in market value, will be the first company to hit that market capitalization, which means that theoretically, if you want to buy Apple, the company, it will cost you $3 trillion. So big company continues to make money and great products. Not a surprise. Maybe buy more stock. I don't know. Now, this next one is about, there was a lot of talk about decoupling from the Chinese economy, right? As China cracks down on its large companies and kind of makes them less susceptible to US regulatory influence. I think this will be the first of many to come. Okay, so Didi Chuxing is like their Uber in China, and it says it will delist from the New York Stock Exchange and move to Hong Kong Stock Exchange, presumably under the pressure by the Chinese Communist government. Um, yeah, because it wanted to assert more control over its large companies and not have it subject to U.S. regulatory control. So very interesting trend to observe. I would not be surprised if this is the beginning of a trend where Chinese companies start delisting from U.S. stock exchanges and probably sell off their U.S. operations for those that also do a lot of business in the U.S. So watch out. Uh, America's employees have 11 job postings to fill. We've talked about this many times on this channel before. Job market is very strong. It's a job seekers market. Okay, not a surprise there. Weekly jobless claims fall to lowest level in 52 years. So yeah, last time this happened, I think it was Richard Nixon was president. Yeah, so that was how long ago this was. Okay, fewer workers voluntarily quitting. So the headline here says, so this might be a sign that um, job vacancies are slowing down. It's still strong though. Wouldn't worry too much about it. Okay. November job reports, unemployment rate. Okay, same deal here. All right. Great resignation slowed down. Job openings jumped. Okay, same, more of the same. Okay. US hiring stumbles, blah, blah, blah. More of the same. US workers poised to get biggest raise. Now, this headline, I read the article, right? And the headline here is a bit misleading. It's just saying that, oh, we expect wages to go up next year because of inflation. Yeah, duh. Okay, so Starbucks workers just unionized. Now, this is in Buffalo. It'll be an interesting um, trend to watch, right? I'm surprised that this has happened. For better or worse, I will not pass a judgment on that, but I'm surprised that this has happened. And doesn't mean anything will change tomorrow, or will the price of your Starbucks cappuccino go up by $1 next week? No, it's going to take some time, and it'll be an interesting thing to watch. Is this the beginning of a trend where workers' rights become stronger because of the Great Resignation? Um, I don't know, but again, this surprises me. Okay, now on to politics. Is Biden wants Putin, he'll face tough sanctions. Okay, so they had a video call. They talked about, hey, don't. Biden warned Russia, warned Putin not to invade Ukraine. Um, do Are we going to see some military action, some conflict there? Well, that'll be interesting that Biden has was so direct in his communication with Putin, right? So now war is inflationary. So there's war. Um, yeah, it will cause prices to go up, and will lower interest rates probably. Okay, so this will be a story to watch, check back on. Inflation, 6.8% in November, highest in 4 decades. Okay, this one talks about the same thing. In related news, China's vegetable prices went up 30%. Okay, food prices are going up. All right, pork prices as well. Okay, not a surprise there. Everything's going up except our pay, right? So again, think of strategies how to live cheaper, eat cheaper, cheaply. Okay. Now, amazing news here. Gas prices tumble. Okay, government forecasts that. Part of it is because of a warmer than usual um, winter. And the other thing is release of crude oil from the strategic reserve. And one last thing is also the Omicron variant of the coronavirus is causing some doubts on economic growth. So yeah, so it'll be interesting to watch. Okay, this article talks about how gas prices likely to drop more. Okay, and then this one, okay, Americans' pandemic era excess savings. So during the pandemic, people were not spending money. A lot of people started saving, paying down debt, etc. But this is going down. So is this at the individual level. Obviously, that's not a good thing, right? Less savings, okay, less prepared for emergencies, etc. But on the macroeconomic level, this does mean that as people have less money to spend, theoretically, people will buy fewer things, and hopefully that helps with the inflation. I know. Alrighty. This one talks about demographic trends. My last story for the day. More than a quarter of American households are made out of people living alone. Okay, as senior ranks of senior citizens swell and young Americans continue to delay life milestones. Okay, so yeah, and the pandemic is not helping things, I'm sure, right? It's people, the couples part ways because they can't stand each other that much anymore. They realize they don't like each other that much when they're together all the time. And younger people pair up and have children later in life. So yeah, where does this point to? Housing may continue to be expensive because obviously when you have fewer people living as couples, married or unmarried, this will obviously cause demand for homes to go up. So it's my bet. Okay, if I were to make a bet, is that the long-term trend of this is the housing shortage is not going to go away anytime soon. So perhaps think about finishing your basement and renting it out. Might be a worthwhile investment, of course, depending on where you live. So this brings us to the end of today's business news for the average person. I'm your host, Nicholas. Please consider liking and subscribing and sharing. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.